I had talked through this whole video, but it ended up being too windy for you to hear it. I don't know what I was expecting without a microphone, but I'm doing a voiceover and I'm gonna basically try and say everything that I was gonna say. So this is my 3-year-old mare, Hala. I guess she's a filly then if she's only 3, right? Um, she's fantastic. Somebody else halter broke her. Um, and she's pretty used to being handled. I got her about a month ago, and I am working on breaking her to ride, obviously. Um, and at this point, what I've done with her is I'm starting to teach her to lunge. I've had a surcingle on her, and I've had like I've used a blanket to kind of desensitize her to weird shit on her. So this, I'm putting a saddle on her today. But she has that experience of foreign objects on her already, and that's what I would really recommend is getting them, ease them into this. Just don't just throw a saddle on them because by the time I'm putting a saddle on her here, she's totally desensitized to weird stuff, and I attribute this going so well to the work I've done with her before. Um, and another thing I wanted to say about this video is this is totally unedited. I wanted to post the full length of how long this actually takes because I see a lot of videos on this type of thing where people just she kept moving around. I was trying to get her to stand in the shot of the camera. But this is how long it actually takes. So I'm not cutting this video at all. This is the real thing because I think people get so impatient they expect it to go fast, but I really want to show like I did this and I'm taking my time. I'm letting her have the time to process everything. So, um, even though she's already desensitized to the saddle pad, I'm gonna kind of do some desensitization again just to reinforce that the saddle pad is harmless. It might flap around a little bit and she needs to be used to it. And you can see she doesn't give a shit. So I put that on her back. Um, and then with the saddle, I'm not gonna put it on right away. She's never had anything like that on her before. I'm letting her take a look at it, and you'll see she'll touch it. I want her to touch it with her nose and feel it. Take a take a look at what it is, and so that she's not nervous about it. And then I'm flapping it around. You can't hear it, but it's making noise. I want her to be desensitized to that as well. And then I don't put it on her back right away, because that is often where they freak out when you kind of lift it up. So, or no, I touch it on her first. I can't even remember what the hell I was doing. But yeah, you can see she's chill with me rubbing it on her a little bit. So I'm gonna touch her stomach with it a little bit. She doesn't care. And then I do the other side. What you do on one side, you have to do on the other side. I don't work on just the left, on just the right. And I think with horse people, we tend to work on the left and neglect the right side a little bit. You got to do everything on both sides. And then she got a little distracted here. So I'm just waiting until she's done looking at whatever she's looking at cuz I want her to fully process everything that's happening right now, especially since it's a new experience. I want her to be focused, and I'm not rushing her at all because then she'd be preoccupied. You know what I mean? I want her to look at what she has to look at and then kind of organically get her mind off of it. So I'm waiting for that. Yeah, now she brings her head back, looks at me, so I'm going to do the next step, which is lifting. I'm not even going to touch her with it. I'm just lifting it over her back because that's the area where a lot of horses flip out or they get weird about it. And she's so flexible, which I really love that about her. She's able to actually look at how flexible her neck is. She's able to really look at exactly what I'm doing. And then I didn't put it all the way over. I just kind of hung one side on there to put weight on her a little bit. Because you have to remember, that's kind of a big thing for them. See, when I slide it over and it's on the other side, that's an area where they flip out sometimes as well because they see that they see it on the other side when it was on one side before, and they flip out because they're not the brightest, but you can't blame them, can you? And then the girth strap, again, I'm letting her touch everything, letting her look at everything for as long as she wants to. The biggest thing with this is just like go as slow as you possibly can. Give them as much time as you can to process everything because this is so unnatural and foreign to them. You know, you want to do it on their time. And then same kind of thing, I'm going to touch her stomach with it. And I don't quite slap it, but I'm, rattling it around so that it makes some noise. And she's like, oh my God, that's weird. So I let her, I give her a second. And anytime they do anything like that where they're unsure, I like to just let them see it again, give them a second, and then I ask her to go back to where we were. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. That's a shame. Alright, and then I hook it up. I realize that girth is way too big. All this this is my friend's saddle that I borrowed, and obviously it's way bigger on her than it should be, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not riding her just so long as I have something on her back. And then she's kind of unsure again, so I took a break. She likes to lick my hand for some reason. She thinks she's a dog. And that's what I was waiting for. Oh, she's not gonna move up. I don't know what I'm doing. But that's just there when she put her head down. That's kind of a good sign. And then I realized she might be uncomfortable with that saddle was bought at an auction and it still had the auction tag on it. So I took that off because it was flapping in the wind. I thought she might be anxious about that. Something else I forgot to mention is that I don't have stirrups on the saddle. As you can see, that's just kind of an extra factor that I didn't want to put in there today, but eventually I will put stirrups on. It's just easier to introduce it without. And then who knows what I'm talking about? I don't have a clue. And then she got all distracted here. She's looking at I don't know, we had some construction going on yesterday within eye shot, unfortunately, so she was pretty distracted, but it is what it is. And I mean, honestly, I did just move her here, so it's still, she's only been on this farm for a month, so it's like it's still an unfamiliar environment, so I'm giving her lots of time because I don't want her to be overwhelmed at all. And then, like I said, I've had a surcingle on her before, so I wasn't really concerned about tightening the girth on the other side. But obviously, um, as you put pressure on the girth on a new horse, you want to go really slow. And I didn't even make this really tight today. I was just happy with the fact that I got a saddle on her back. I don't need to have the girth super tight. And then I'm gonna cut the video here just because I did walk her around a little bit, but it's not really in frame and it's not worth watching. Um, but I just walk her around just to let her feel that while she's walking because it's a very different feeling. And I'm giving her a ton of treats because she did so good. But it's a very different feeling. So if you get the saddle on and they're calm and they're good with it and everything, make sure you walk them around. That way they get the feeling of moving with it. Um, but yeah, that was my whole process. So thanks for watching.